the commercials.
Individualized learning for over 150 million students
Although,
worldwide.
I think I'm gonna
But now Sal's
put
looking to
on some music maybe.
what if you could give every school in America a software update?
But
In a very
look,
dramatic way, introduce more personalization, more mastery, more rigor. I think the power of
you
just
see the
a
shirt, so
contrarian
you know what time we on.
our mission
I was supposed to do this 2 days
is to
ago.
simulate anything.
I wanted to do it the night
The time is no
that I
coincidence.
went to go see it,
To get a present,
but
stories, ideas, and advice from
um,
teenagers tackling the biggest challenges.
I think this is better because it gives
You
me.
can't help
It's
but
been
notice
several days, so it gives me a
how the
chance
students respond.
to give some spoil. So I won't be spoiling it for a lot of folks. All right, so we'll see. Um, I want to play some music, but yeah, I'm about to give my opinions on the Superman movie as soon as I start having some people appear. Haven't seen anyone yet. Waiting for moderators. Um, I think my wife might join. I mean, she won't be on video with me tonight, but she um, is- I think she'll just help me moderate if you guys don't mind. um, so play. Ah, yeah, that should work. But let me see. Enough. All right. Oh, so we got 4 people in the chat room. So what's up to everyone? So I'm just gonna give my opinions on the Superman movie. Okay. Um, I thought it was fairly good. Where would I rate it? Um, I'll give it A minus, which is I think it's a pretty good grade. Um, because the original Superman 1978 gets an A plus. Batman 1989 gets an A. So A minus isn't bad. So uh, so everyone coming in, um, warning there might be I may be giving a few spoilers away in this movie, but feel free to ask me questions about the movie. But if people are talking about anything that has nothing to do with the movie, I'm just gonna ignore you. I'm not talking to retards, and I already see a lot of retarded messages already. What's up, Mrs. Contrarian? What's up, Mahal? So anyway, so the movie is pretty good, guys. Like, first of all, I want to say it is not political. Like, that was the most divisive thing is that everyone in America is so hyper partisan that everyone's trying to like do stuff. Like everyone's trying to make claims about the movie that itself does not do. Okay. Also, let me make sure I got my chat filter set up here so I'm catching all the Messages. So I think I'm not because Mrs. Contrarian just already timed out a few people. Um, what were they doing? Mahal, were they taking an image of me? Because I know there's a troll that does that, and I thought Moonlit had got rid of those two guys. It was two guys that had been trolling me, several months ago, and then he kind of put them on blast, said, "Hey, I got your info, and I'm gonna put it out here on the live stream if you keep, doing, sketchy stuff in my live." So I don't know. Is that what that Primix guy was going doing? So anyway, guys, Superman. So again, I want to let you guys know it doesn't matter where you fall on the political spectrum. This movie is good, and you'll like it whether you are someone who find yourself politically on the left or politically on the right. It is not. It is apolitical. Oh, he just kept on sending the same message. I must not be seeing them, Mahal, because my I think it's something going on with my chat filter. Cause I can't see who's coming in and coming out. Like I've seen as many as like 39 people. Then it dropped to zero. Then it went up to 14. So now it's 8. So I can't really see the influx or efflux of people coming in or out. Pause. But yeah, like I said, guys, go see the movie. It doesn't matter where you fall. If you're liberal, you're conservative, you're libertarian, you're politically agnostic. Um, it, it's pretty much for anyone. Um, I noticed, unlike other superhero movies, it's done better domestically than it has overseas. Usually, it's the usually it's the converse. Usually a lot of these big budget superhero movies do better internationally than they do domestically, and that's where they get a bulk of their money. But Superman, um, interestingly, has been doing better domestically than overseas, which kind of makes sense. I mean, he is the most American of superheroes, even if they don't use that title anymore, Truth, Justice, and American Way. However, one of the comic book writers had asked DC Comics, like, "Hey, is it still all right for me to say Truth, Justice, and American Way in the as far as the ethos for Superman and his comic book?" And DC say, "Oh yeah, absolutely." So he wrote this forward, this little, I don't know if it's an op-ed, whatever you want to call it, and say, "Hey guys, go see the movie. I just did a Superman comic book. He still is for the American way. Don't let people lead you astray, with all this partisanship." Like I said, however you feel about politics or even America, Superman is still the superhero. I mean, he's not even my favorite. Mine is Batman, but he's still in my, I guess, my top. He's still in my top 5, right? He's still in my top 5. I'm just more attracted to dark heroes usually. Not dark like physically dark, but dark as in like their pathos, right? But anyway, like I said, Variety magazine has has been trolling for a long time. Like they they don't like a particular reporter, especially for Variety. This old gay white guy likes to troll a lot of people in these movies and set it up to make it look like they have an LGBTQ agenda because he himself is of the letter mob. And a lot of them don't. Like he set up the acolyte, he set those people up pretty badly. But they kind of let that happen because they acknowledged that they were in fact pushing that sort of narrative. Superman does not push a political narrative. Like they were trying to say it was all about the struggles of an immigrant, and nothing could be farther from the truth. Like, yes, obviously Superman is an alien, which makes him an immigrant of sorts, but that has never really been his story, and that's not really the story in this new movie. Like, it's not all about him being an alien. I mean, that makes up part of it, to be, I mean, to be sure. That makes up, a chunk of the story, but that's not all it's about. Um, what Another complaint I saw was that this is a Gen Z Superman. Like yeah, the reason people were saying that was because they were saying the movie didn't really slow down. Like it just kind of went from different moments to moment, and eh, yeah, that's true a bit. And I'm guessing that's just in that. I think that's just how it was edited. I think you I think that the theatrical release probably had to cut out some scenes that may have slowed it down a bit, and maybe if there's a directorial cut that comes out later on Blu-ray and DVD, it may show a longer a longer release, where there's more dialogue, but it's not it's not like they claim like it's like rapid fire the whole time. It's not that bad. A movie that was like that was Rise of Skywalker, the Star Wars part of the Star Wars sequel trilogy back in 2019. That was rapid fire. Like, you just kept jumping from moment to moment to moment. It was like you didn't get a chance to slow down. Now, Rise of Skywalker was like that. Superman isn't that bad. It has its moments that are emotional, and the other criticism was people thought that James Gunn was going to try to put jokes everywhere. He's not as bad as Taika Waititi, the guy that did Thor Ragnarok, which was good, but then he went on and did Thor Love and Thunder, which was horrible, where every moment was interspersed with a irrelevant joke. Yeah, James Gunn isn't that bad. Like, there are genuine heartfelt moments that are not immediately like interjected with some sort of joke. It's not that bad. It's really not, because I was kind of waiting to see if that was going to happen. Like, oh boy, but no, it didn't. Like, when there were heartfelt moments, it played. They let the heartfelt moment play itself out. It didn't. There wasn't automatically some joke thrown in to lighten the mood. So it wasn't. It wasn't. It didn't have the Josh Whedon effect. The Joss Whedon effect. The phone. The funny thing, the ironic thing about calling it the Whedon effect is that Joss Whedon himself in his movies, even though he would put jokes in throughout the movie, he didn't do it as his movies were good. The movies where what's up, Dundrel? Uh, the movies where they call it the Whedon effect were people who were trying to uh, imitate Joss Whedon and did a poor example and did it poorly. So Joss Whedon wasn't that bad. It was the people who were trying to imitate him that made that messed things up with the MCU. Okay, so don't so though now I do have now some criticisms do hold true, and I'm going to get to those. But I wanted to kind of dismantle the other ones that I think don't hold much water. Like I said, it's not political. Are there things that can and even and even this like even where there are things that are political, they're ambiguous enough that whichever side you're on, you can take that. So, for instance, the made-up nation of Moravia is a made-up Eastern European nation. A lot of a lot of people like depending on your political leanings, you can see it as one or the other. where they were going to attack this other fictional nation, Johanpur or whatever. A lot of people saw analogies to Israel and Palestine, some um, with Ukraine and Russia, or maybe other countries. But the thing is, um, which you would, whichever you thought they were, whichever countries you thought were the real life stand-ins for those fictional nations in the in Superman, it would be clearly just you projecting onto them. So if you saw that as the fight between Israel and Palestine, and you can identify with it, good for you. But that's not necessarily what they were doing. If you saw it as being Ukraine and Russia, again, you're projecting that. But if that works for you, that's fine. Um, but these are made up nations that are in DC Comics, and James Gunn has said that he's not going to in his DCU and his DC cinematic universe, he's going to just use all the fictional places in DC. He's not going to use the real life counterparts. So like you have Metropolis and Gotham in DC Comics, so he's not going to use New York City since those were pretty much the counterparts for New York City in DC Comics, even though later on they also had New York City in DC Comics. So because of that, the real they put Gotham and Metropolis south of New York City. So Gotham is in uh, Gotham is in New Jersey, as is Bloodhaven, which is north of Gotham, um, and across the Delaware River is Metropolis. So Metropolis is in Delaware. But as far as the DCU, those are going to be like their fictional counterparts to New York City. They're not going to have a New York City in DCU in the DCU, according to James Gunn. He's going to just use the fictional counterparts to all these real life cities that are in the DC universe, which I like because it was always confusing having a Metropolis and a New York City or a Gotham City, which is pretty much both of them are pretty much stand-ins for New York City, but they originally came from different comics, right? So Metropolis originally came from Action Comics, and Gotham originally came from Detective Comics, which are originally were two different owned by two different companies before they were bought out by national periodicals. The the precursor to DC Comics. So Moravia again is a fictional Eastern European nation, as is Johanpur, which is like a Eastern European or Central Asian country, whichever. Um, and there were brown people in Johanpur, so again, people might see that as an analog to Israel versus Palestine, but you don't necessarily have to do so, especially if you support Israel, or even if you don't. Like, you don't have to see that as an it's not a one-to-one analogy to that. So that's why I'm saying that's not political. Um, so far I don't think that was any big spoilers because like you can see Baravia in the trailer, even though I'm not sure if they named it in the trailer, but it's also in the comics. Baravia and Johanpur, like, uh, well, and then I was saying that the other criticism, well, the other thing was that the movie wasn't doing too well because it was doing better domestically than internationally, and that's actually kind of a good thing. Just doing well domestically. You look at the Rotten Tomato score, I think it's like 80 something by the critics and like 90 something by the audience. So that's pretty good. Pretty freaking good. And I said the other criticism was that it was a Gen Z Superman because people basically the criticism was that the movie was rapid fire. It doesn't slow down for like slow moments because Gen Z people lack attention spans. That was the criticism. I don't think that. I think it's because it's an action movie and there's so much to cover that it's that it does have it doesn't slow down as much, but it's like again, I don't think it's as bad as Rise of Skywalker where there was just no slowdown moments. It was just like jump, 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 jump. Like it slows down where you can have heartfelt moments in the movie, right? Um, Another criticism is that he's getting his ass beat throughout the movie. He is getting his ass beat throughout the movie, but that's for good reason. Like it's not just he's weak. So they didn't nerf him to be sure. So if people are worried about they nerfed him, they did not nerf him. There's a good reason why he's getting his butt beat. Okay. And I mean, I don't want to. Well, look, I'll just because he's already in the trailer. Ultraman is kicking his ass. I'm not gonna say who Ultraman is for people. Well, I'll say who he is in the comics. I'm not gonna say who he is in the movies. So Ultraman in the comics is the Superman from an alternate universe who has an evil version of the Justice League called the the I think they call it what the the Justice Syndicate or the Crime Syndicate, and they basically rule over their Earth. That's not the same Ultraman as in the movies, but there is an Ultraman, and he's the reason Superman is getting his ass beat. So sorry, that's a big spoiler. Although, like I said, you see Ultraman in the trailers. Like he's literally in the trailers. So there's Ultraman. Um, the biggest criticism of which I do agree is that they changed some of the folklore for Superman. I'm not going to spoil that for anyone unless someone asks me about it. Mahal, I think there's something wrong with my filter. It won't. It's not letting me. Yeah, it's something wrong with my filter, Mahal. It's not letting me. It's not letting me change the chat filter, so I'm missing some of my messages. Oh, and look for. Yeah, she says just everyone saying. Yeah, I know, it's just every. And that it's weird when people just put that said hi thing to me. That looks like it looks very trolly, like it's bots or something. I don't know. Is there a button on your screen, Mahal, that lets you put that little hi message with the wavy emoji? Because that looks weird as shit when people do that. It looks kind of weird. Oh, by the way, just got a pack of garbage pail kids. You guys can see that. I haven't bought a pack of garbage pail kids in literally 40 years. 13, 39 years. I haven't bought a package of these in like 39 years. 38, 39. Yeah, I'm gonna say about 38, 39 years. So this came out in 2024. They started re they started making Garbage Pail Kids again, I think about 5 years ago. So I bought my first pack in 38, 39 years. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with the little stale piece of gum in it like they did back in the day. Um, buy the Tops card. I used to buy so many Tops cards, the Garbage Pail Kids, and of course I used like a good little American Midwest kid. I used to buy baseball cards, but not just Tops. I used to Tops, Don Russ, all the major baseball card making companies. What's up, AC? I'm not going to use that word. Yeah. So Garbage Pail Kids. I love these things. Anyway, back to the to the movie review. So the big the criticism, the biggest criticism I've seen, which I think is holds weight, is the fact that they changed the folklore of Superman's origins a little bit, quite a bit from what we normally see. Again, I don't want to spell it out for anyone unless someone asks me, but all I'm seeing is these high prompts. So is unless I actually see someone actually engaging in the actual conversation with me, I'm not gonna give major spoilers because it's just weird how people aren't actually saying anything. They just waving, putting that little stupid high thing, and it just comes off as like a bot or something. So if you are a actual person, can you say something other than hi, just so I know that you're a real person and not just being a bot? So like AC did. But again, like my overall rating of the movie is A minus. I think what helped is that I went to also see it in Prime. Um, uh, I went to AM. I did the Prime AMC theater. The Prime is like their highest theater where it has the really great sound system, and the theater even there it gives off it, it the seats and all that stuff rumble during the action scenes. Like when stuff was happening, the seats is like shaking and all. It was really good. It was really, and it was in 3D. I didn't think it was gonna be good in 3D because I don't think the movie was filmed in 3D. That's largely because my friend bought the Prime, so we were in the same theater. I bought Prime, but I wasn't really, I didn't really need 3D, but it worked well. Plus, not everyone can do 3D because for some people it can give them a headache. So everyone can't do 3D, but it worked out well. Like the quality was pretty good. Like like I said, the sound theater system is great. You know, with the shake, like the with the sounds and with the effects that happen as on the screen happening, you know, in your seat and all that sort of stuff was really good. And like I said in the beginning, it's completely different from other. So James Gunn said he's not doing he wasn't going to do a superhero origin for Superman again. He stuck to that. Matter of fact, he said three superheroes we never need to see an origin story for again was Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. I agree. The funny thing, they are the three most popular superheroes in the world, and as such, we've seen their origins a number of times on screen. We don't need to see their origins again. Marvel Studios seemed to agree as well because when they brought Spider-Man: Homecoming out back in 2017, it didn't get they didn't do an origin story for him already. It's like you already knew he existed in that world, especially as you already saw him in Captain America: Civil War, and even in Captain America: Civil War, it didn't give him an origins. Like you already knew who he was, whatever. We don't need to see Uncle Ben die again. We don't need to see Aunt May die again. Same thing with Batman. So when the Brave and the Bold comes out, and I'm guessing 3 years, I don't know how long it's going to take now, because they don't have a script ready for it yet. We already got Supergirl that's coming out next year. So Supergirl, and she does appear in the movie, by the way. She does a brief cameo, just to let you guys know. Um, Spoiler alert. But her movie's coming out next year because they're already putting out posters for it, where it says instead of it saying look up, she scratches out the up and say look out, and you'll see why. Because this Supergirl is based on the graphic novel by the comic book writer Tom King. He's actually a local to this area in Maryland, so I've seen him several times at different comic book venues at Comic Con and at Third Eye Comics here in Annapolis, Maryland. Um, nice guy, but a lot of people dislike him for his run on Batman. Be, a lot of people dislike his run on Batman, so he's a really good comic book writer, but a lot of people dislike him because of his run on Batman. But I mean, I've seen him. He's cool, and he does write good stuff. Um, After the Batman run, he went on to do like a spin-off with just Batman and Catwoman, which wasn't canon, I don't think. Um, then he's done his run on Supergirl, a graphic novel. So this version of um, of Supergirl, Laura, is going to be based on Tom King's version of her. So just to give away what he does with her in the comic books, which is I guess is what's going to be on the screen. She tended to drink a lot in the Tom King graphic novel, and I think it was because that was her way of dealing with her um, sadness about losing her planet. She wasn't like a baby like Kal-El, like Superman was when she came to Earth. She was already a, you know, she was already a teenager. So, but it's just that because of some situations, depending on what sort of origin story we're dealing with, you know, Superman made it to the Earth first before she did. So even though she's technically his older cousin, he became an adult um, on Earth before she arrived. So now his older cousin is now his younger cousin. So he has to look after her. Uh, but in the Tom King run, instead of her, so in the other versions of Supergirl, she was a bit rough around the edges and seemed to have like a chip on her shoulder. Like she didn't pull her punches like Superman did. So for the longest time, people thought she was actually stronger than Superman in the comic books, but that's only because unlike Superman, she wouldn't pull her punches. Now this version of her still has a chip on her shoulder, but instead of her being like a brute, she's sort of like a drunkard. I don't know if that's better, but it definitely makes it funnier. And the actress they have playing her, Millie, what's her name? Millie Alcock or whatever her name is. I don't remember her name. She looks like Supergirl. She looks like her in the comic books. Like the version of her they used in the Flash did not look like her at all. Like she had like black hair, and she just looked nothing like Supergirl. Like at least the Supergirl that most of us know. There was a version of Supergirl that had black hair and it looked like the version in the Flash, but that was a that was a different that was an alternate universe version of her. That was not the Kara from the from Earth One. That wasn't the Earth One Supergirl. That was like an alternate universe. So they using the Earth One version of her, but again they're using the Tom King spin where she's like a drunk. So there's that. But aside from that, like I said, they do change the folklore a little bit, which is going to annoy a lot of people. And to be honest, I almost didn't go see the movie when I found out about that. I was like, really? They did what? Like, why they do that? Like, then I realized, well, yeah, there are three different comic books in the Superman past that did similar things with his origins. So again, I'm not gonna say what it is unless someone asks me. But that has happened at least three other times in the comic books, and it happened in Smallville as well. So if you know what I'm talking about, then you can go ahead and put it in the chat room. But if you know what they did with his parents in the Smallville or in those other comic books, then you know what I'm talking about. And that was why I wasn't originally going to see it, because I was like, man, that's going to piss me off. But it actually played well into the movie, so I wasn't too upset about it. Um, it's really bothering me. I can't change the chat filter here. How I can't, like, it won't let me show all my messages. Like, it's just let me show the like most of them. I can see my top fans, but I can't see everything here. Yeah, guys, Batman right there. Mr. Contrarian, I selected all matches, but there's not too much. Okay. Oh, you did select. Thank you for doing that. I forgot that you have those controls. So can any moderator doing that, or is that because I made you like the managing moderator that you have access to that? I'm guessing because I made you managing moderator that you have access to all that. But anywho, and another thing, you're gonna love people if you're a dog lover. You're gonna love Crypto in a movie. He does not. So another potential criticism. People were worried that Crypto was gonna be all through the movie. He's in the movie, but he's in the places where he needs to be, and then he's not in parts of the movie where he doesn't need to be. So they know when to set him aside and then where to use him. But again, but that's great because it makes it makes it more lighthearted. This is a this is a superhero movie where superheroes exist. This is not a grounded take on superheroes like the Batman was 3 years ago, or the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. And it's like I don't even see the point of making the Batman a grounded universe when Christopher Nolan had already did it first and did it better. Like he had three movies to nail it, and he did. They were the best, some of the best superhero movies ever made was the Dark Knight trilogy. The Dark Knight won an Oscar, and it almost won. The only reason it didn't win Best Film of the Year is because the Oscars snubbed it. But they nominated it for Best Film of the Year, but got snubbed by the Oscars. But it still won a few Oscars, including Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker. Um, and it's because the Oscars snubbed The Dark Knight that now superhero movies are taken more seriously. Because it definitely was a contender for Best Film of the Year back in 2008. But he had already made a grounding. The whole Nolan universe was Batman existing in a world where there were no superheroes. So that was a grounded take. So then when they came around in 2022 and made the Batman after you just had Batman in the DCEU played by Ben Affleck, it was just like too much, too soon. And if you remember, if people look. I've talked about the Batman 3 years ago when I first started doing my YouTube channel, and I talked about it well. Thank you, Moonlit. I didn't know you were here, brother. What's going on? That's my Cash App, guys. If you want to support me, $ just a contrarian, or I'm still taking donations for my friend Micah. I still need $25 more to go, guys, so I can release that to her. So if anyone want to help me, I need $25 more, so I can send that off to Micah to help her out. Or if you just want to contribute to my channel, my Cash App is right there. I pinned to the chat. Okay, $just a contrarian. Thank you, Moonlit. Um, but like I said, this is a Silver Age superhero movie. Um, and another great thing they did in the movie, because the act the main actor who plays Superman, I forgot his name, Corn Sweat, some I forgot his name. I'm sorry, just is it Justin Corn Sweat, something like that. He's a huge Star Wars fan, so they did like a little a little scroll, like a little scroll down explanation in the beginning of the movie, like you get in Star Wars, explaining Superman, so you don't need an origin story. It says it already says, in the DCU, metahuman superpowered people are metahumans, and they have been on the Earth for 300 years, right? And it says 30 years ago, you know, Kal-El landed on the planet, and he's been active, and he's been active as Superman for 3 years. So the movie already starts with people already knowing like Superman exists in Metropolis. On top of that, uh, what's someone lit? And on top of that, it is already revealed that metahumans have been on the planet for 300 years. Then I love all the other things they did. So you got the Justice Gang, which may or may not be the precursor to the Justice League, but they are a superhero team that are actually subsidized by Maxwell Lord, who in DC comic book nerds know that he's a bad guy. Maxwell Lord, he's a huge bad guy. He was actually the bad guy in Wonder Woman 1984, played by the very guy playing Mr. Fantastic in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. Right? So Maxwell Lord. So they don't show Maxwell Lord in. Actually, no. Yes, they do. They do show Maxwell Lord in the movie. Maxwell Lord is actually played by James Gunn brother, who happens to be in a lot of his movies. Like he was in his Guardian of the Galaxy films, and he was in The Suicide Squad. He likes to use the same actors over and over again. um, he even uses Bradley Cooper as Jor-El. Like so, he brings back Bradley Cooper to play Jor-El. Um, I don't think I saw his wife in the movie. He sometimes has his wife in movies too. Like, well, his wife is in Peacemaker. Um, oh, Peacemaker is in the movie. Peacemaker is in the movie. He makes a brief cameo. Peacemaker. Sorry, guys, these are gonna be spoilers. Peacemaker is briefly in the film. uh, and they already said that Peacemaker season 2 is gonna directly be a, is gonna be a direct uh, after effect of the things that happen in Superman. So Peacemaker season 2 is going to be on HBO Max. Oh, and Max, by the way, has now been turned back into HBO Max because everyone hated calling it Max. So it's back to being called HBO Max again. For those who don't know, so you don't have to say Max anymore. You can just say HBO Max. No one liked calling it Max. It's HBO Max again. They even made a big thing about it online. A big marketing push to show that they were back to calling themselves HBO Max again. So season 2 of Peacemaker will be out. Uh, I think this August. It might be out this August. but it's going to directly um, follow from the consequences of Superman. And they're making a Green Lantern TV series for HBO Max. It's going to be, I think it's going to be called The Lantern Corps, and it's going to show both Hal Jordan and John Stewart working together side by side on Earth. So they said it's basically going to be like a sci-fi version of Lethal Weapon. So if you like Lethal Weapon, regardless of what you feel about Mel Gibson nowadays, now that we know he's crazy, but wherever setting aside your feelings about Mel Gibson personal life, and Lethal Weapon were awesome action movies back in the late 80s and early 90s. Riggs, Riggs, I'm too old for this shit, Riggs. The funny thing is, every time he said I was too old for this shit, he still did whatever they had to do anyway. Like when they went to had to when they had to beat up Jet Li, he's like, you know he gonna kill us, right? Yeah, I don't care. All right, too old for this shit. So, the Lantern Corps is gonna be both John Stewart and Hal Jordan together. So that's gonna be awesome. I think that's gonna be a great show. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a really good show. Um, they brought back Rick Flag Senior, not Rick Flag Jr. Rick Flag Jr. died in the Suicide Squad. Spoiler alert. But his father is Rick Flag Senior, who's in the animated series Creature Commandos, which is like the version of the Suicide Squad using monsters. He's the only human on the team. Uh, the same voice actor that plays him in the cartoon plays him in Superman. So he's in Superman as well. Um, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Uh, um, the, the, and there's it seemed like if you watch the movie and then you remember if you remember Man of Steel, it looks like they just redid Man of Steel in a way where they just did everything the opposite of what Zack Snyder would have done. So you got Snyder fans that are mad as shit. And they're like, well, Superman didn't do as well as Man of Steel in this opening weekend. Yeah, okay, but it hasn't faced the same level of divisiveness either, which is a plus. And he's more of a real Superman. In Man of Steel, you can see Zack Snyder's edge lord shit come out. Like, because he loves Ayn Rand's pseudo philosophy, objectivism, he's not really like a superhero. Like, he's trying to deconstruct superheroes. You don't deconstruct superheroes in a movie in the mainstream movies. You do that in a side spin-off movie. You don't deconstruct the move. You don't deconstruct the mythos of the heroes in their films. That was the problem with Ryan Johnson in The Last Jedi. He tried to he tried to deconstruct the Star Wars mythos in the sequel trilogy. You don't do that in the trilogy. You do that in a spin-off. If you want to deconstruct Star Wars, you do that in a spin-off like Andor. The way Andor is a perfect place to deconstruct the Star Wars mythos. You don't do that in the sequel trilogy. And like with the DCEU under Zack Snyder 10 years ago, you don't deconstruct the superheroes. Like you have a father telling him don't be a hero, like his Earth father, not his biological father. You have his Earth father, John Kent, telling him don't be a hero. You have his mother in Superman versus Batman saying save people, don't save people. You don't owe them anything. Like what? He was he was a superhero that didn't want to be a superhero. Like that just flies in the face of everything we know about Superman. So in the real Superman movie, he smiles, he saves people, and he doesn't save people just because he feels like a do like he's because he just feels like a obligation that he has to. He wants to do it. That's the difference, which is why it under which is why the change in his folklore actually works in this movie, because it basically exemplifies who he is as Superman. He doesn't just save people just because he has to. He does it because he wants to do it. And he like this isn't a huge spoiler, but if you think this is a huge spoiler, sorry for you. He saves a squirrel. Like he is that good of a person that he saves a freaking squirrel. I'm not joking. He saves a squirrel. And in the trailer, when you see him saving that little girl, like This is Superman. This is Superman qua Superman. Qua is just a fancy way of saying in Latin in the capacity of. So this is Superman in the capacity of being Superman in this movie. Like he saves a squirrel. People probably like, man, get out of here. I'm not even joking. He saves a squirrel. He like even after Lex Luthor after Lex Luthor goes out of his way to try to kill him so many times, he 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 tries to reason with the man. He's like, we don't have to be enemies. Like this is Superman. This is how this is the comic book accurate Superman. So if people want a comic book accurate Superman, you have a comic book accurate Superman. He even has his red underwear on the outside of his uniform, like Superman's supposed to. Of course, you said, did he wear a cape? Of course, he wore the cape. I can't see that. Hold on, what's that? I can't see that little um, put on my Clark Kent glasses here. Oh yeah, Crypto wore escape. You didn't see the trailer? Crypto, the way he looks in the trailer is exactly how he is in the comic book. I mean, in the movie, Crypto wears his cape. This is a Silver Age goofy Superman. Yes, Crypto wears his cape. He actually wears his cape, and he's actually based off of James Gunn own rescue dog. Like James Gunn had a rescue dog, and this is sort of how Crypto is based on him. This is why he doesn't look like the Crypto in the comic books, who is more of a I think in the comic books he's what a sort of like a Labrador. Although I haven't seen, do Labradors have white fur? I always think of Labradors as having like black fur or brown fur or something. But he looks like a, I guess, I guess in the comic books he's sort of like a Labrador sort of thing. But no, he's fluffy. But then when you look at James Gunn's actual rescue dog, Crypto looks like James. He made Crypto look like his own dog, which was a rescue animal that he adopted. And likewise, it's sort of like Superman adopted Crypto, because you find out he's really Supergirl's dog. Huge spoiler. He's Supergirl's dog in this version. I mean, and remember when Superman gives himself up in Man of Steel begrudgingly. In this movie, he gives himself up too, but he willingly does so just to show one that he's not a threat, and he gives himself up just so he can save Crypto. Like this is how good of a person he will give himself up just to save Crypto, even though he doesn't even like Crypto. He doesn't even like Crypto. So any dog lovers, they're gonna. if you guys are dog lovers, you're gonna love Superman, the movie, and the superhero. Like I said, if you're an animal lover, you're gonna love him. He gives himself up just to save crypto. He saves a squirrel, which is similar to like the Christopher Reeve Superman from 1978. Remember when he gets the cat out of the tree for the little girl? Of course, the little girl still got slapped by her mom because she's like, "What are you doing?" And she goes inside. She's like, "What are you doing?" And the mom slaps her. You don't see it, but you can hear it in the background. At least that didn't happen to the little girl he saved in this movie. But this is how good natured he is. We got the good natured Superman back. We got the Boy Scout. That was always the thing people derided him for. He's just a big Boy Scout. Yes, that's what he's supposed to be. Guy Gardner is the Green Lantern in this movie, and he's just as goofy as he is in the comic books. Like a lot of people aren't don't like Guy Gardner, but if they know anything about the comic books, he's just as unlikable in the comic books. He has the same goofy bowl cut in the like they didn't do that for the movie. He literally has that bowl cut in the comic books. Like James Gunn is an actual comic book geek. One says I'm still gonna watch. Yeah, Labs can be white. Okay, yeah, I think like in the Batman has. By the way, Batman has a dog too, Ace the Bat Hound. Actually, they did a. If people don't remember, they did an animated film back in the day with The Rock and Kevin. What's the name? The comedian Kevin Hart. Yeah, Kevin Hart was Ace the Bat Hound, and um, The Rock was Crypto. It was called Super Pets. If you guys remember that movie that came out like 5 years ago. But yeah, Batman has his own dog, Ace the Bat Hound, and yes, he wears a mask. But his dog is a German Shepherd. Not surprisingly, he's a good. I'm glad they're on the right track. I don't have big hopes for Fantastic Four, but I have to see it because I like a lot of the actors. I don't like the protagonist. He looks nothing like Mr. Fantastic. And why the fuck does he have a must? He has a big cholo mustache. Like, why is he wearing that cholo? I'm not trying to be racist, but why is he wearing that fucking cholo mustache? There's no versions of Mr. Fantastic where he has that big Mexican mustache. He couldn't shave that off. Like, he didn't have that mustache when he played Maxwell Lord in Wonder Woman 1984. Why does he do that? Like, why is he doing that to Mr. Fantastic? To Reed Richards. I'm waiting. I'm not gonna go see it. Superman was my movie of 2025, just like Deadpool and Wolverine last year was my movie of 2024. At this point, I only go see one movie per year because there's really not that many that I want to see. I'm gonna wait till Fantastic Four comes on Disney Plus because we've already heard the Sue Storm is going to be like the like Mr. Fantastic is the leader of Fantastic Four, but they're going to give most of the airtime to Sue Storm. Galactus isn't just coming to destroy their world. Apparently now he's coming to take their baby, Franklin Richards, because we know he's an Omega level mutant. He's actually he's actually beyond Omega level. I don't want to see it. They said Johnny Storm is no longer going to be a player. They're going to make him relevant for modern audiences, which means he's going to be gay, but whatever. um, yeah, I don't want to see it. They made Silver Surfer into a girl for no reason, like Shala Ball. Yes, Shala Ball was a Silver Surfer in an alternate universe in Marvel comics, but everyone knows the main Silver Surfer. There was the dude. Like, it's corny. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a Fantastic Four that revolves around Sue Storm and her baby. I don't want to see a Silver Surfer that's a girl. Like when everyone like no, Galactus is probably gonna be non-binary or some dumb shit. I don't want to see that dumb shit. He said because Pedro's still playing Joel in Last of Us, and I'm tired. I'm tired of Pedro Pascal in every film. He's not that great of an actor. He is a good actor, but he can't play every role. He doesn't resemble Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic is an alpha male type character. Pedro Pascal has never played an alpha male type character. He's not. It the closest has been in The Mandalorian, and that's only because you don't have to see his face. But he's not outside of The Mandalorian. He's not an alpha male character. Mr. Fantastic looks more like John Hamm from Mad Men, and we literally are already had John Krasinski play him in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. They could have used him again. People were like, "Well, that was a Mr. Fantastic from an alternate universe." Well, this is the alternate universe as well. The Fantastic Four in this new movie is not Earth 616. It's an alternate universe from Earth 616. So it so why not just use John Krasinski again unless he just didn't want to play the role? Because he at least he would have played a better. Pedro Pascal does not look nor act like Mr. Fantastic. He does not resemble Richard like Reed Richards at all. And like I said, physically, the person who would look a lot like him would be John Hamm from Mad Men. The strong jawline, tall, muscular. That's what Mr. Fantastic looks like. He does not look like some little beta male cuck like Pedro Pascal, who was sitting there licking on his little lightsaber at this little gay ass Hollywood movie. But, anyway, let me. Ugh. I'm not going to see Fantastic Four. I went to go see the real superhero movie, Superman. So I'm gonna say I'm not a Fantastic Four fan, but I just want to see it. Watch one episode of Ironheart. Ugh, why you do that to yourself? Got so annoyed, done with most new wave heroes. The funny thing is, Ironheart is actually comic book accurate, but she was that annoying in the comic book, which is why no one liked the comic book. The comic book flopped 10 years ago because no one liked her, and they decided to make that exact version of her for the TV show, which is why no one likes it either. Mind you, people saying, "Oh, it's just being racist." If it was racist, first of all, I'm black. But second of all, if it were racist, then why did Marvel take 3 years to put the show on? The show has been ready to go since 2022. Not lying. It had finished. They had finished filming that Ironheart back in November 2022, and they shelved it for 3 years before airing it last month. And then when they did air it, they put almost all the episodes on in its first week, which means Marvel Studios themselves didn't have confidence in it, that they shelved it for 3 years. And then when they did finally release it to Disney Plus, they aired all the episodes the first week. That show they knew it was gonna be trash. And Melissa says, "Don't get me started with Silver Surfer." Yeah, he said Pedro was awesome in Game of Thrones and as Mandalorian. Yeah, but in Game of Thrones he was bisexual. Remember, he was fucking men. Like, I mean, he was good as the Viper, but the Viper is no one you want to emulate. He was a bisexual, vindictive guy who died because of his own arrogance. So his best character thus far has been the Mandalorian. What's up, Agatha? Melissa says if they did a whole movie on Scarecrow, Azrael, or Ronan. So so the next movie after Supergirl is going to be Clayface. They're giving Clayface his own movie. I was like, wow, they're really making a Clayface movie. So the James Gunn is doing differently than Marvel Studios. He's only going to release movies that already have a script going. Like Marvel does, Marvel will start making a film even before the script is ready, just because they have a certain timeline and certain movies they want to put in order of each other. James Gunn said he's not going to do it that way. He said he's not going to greenlight a movie unless it already has a screenplay. And that's why Supergirl is the next movie instead of Batman Brave and the Bold, is because Supergirl already had a screenplay done, and now Clayface already has a screenplay done. Screen Clayface is going to be sort of like a horror film, so that might be good. And because we're in 2025, we have the digital graphics to make a Clayface movie and it actually looked believable. You couldn't make a Clayface movie 30 years ago. The We just didn't have the special effects available to make a realistic Clayface movie. But to make one that will come out in like 2027, yeah, it will probably be good. I don't know if I'll go see it in the theater because I don't really go see movies based on bad guys except for the Joker. That was the only one I went to go see. That was actually good. The sequel I didn't go see, and I'm glad I didn't because it just destroyed everything from the first movie. But the first Joker movie was good because it took after two good '70s films, uh, the Taxi Driver and the Comedian. Um, was his Clayface kind of deserves it. Riddler could have been a million times better if they made it more like Saw. Well, it wasn't a Riddler movie though. It was still the Batman. It was just the Riddler was the main antagonist. This movie is called Clayface. It's like literally about Clayface. It's not about a superhero fighting him. It's about Clayface himself. Just like the Joker movie was just about Joker. This movie is gonna be just about Clayface. Matt, the 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 Clayface that everyone knows the best, which is the one based off of Matt Hagen. But back to the superhero film. So I mean Superman film. So like I said, this is Superman qua Superman. It's in a movie that's unapologetically a comic book film. It doesn't try to ground it in reality. It exists in a world where superheroes have already existed for 300 years, and they call them metahumans. And they already say in the very beginning of the scroll that you read in the beginning of the movie that, and we have the most powerful metahuman of all, Superman. So, and they have a post-credit scene that doesn't set you up for the next movie like Marvel does. Like that was cool when Marvel first started doing that. Like 18, is it 18 years ago now? 2008, 17 years ago, right? Yeah, like 17 years ago. That was cool 17 years ago when they started doing those post credit scenes to set you up for the next film. But by the time we left the Infinity Saga and jumped into the multiverse saga, the post credit scenes just became meaningless. But hi, Ms. Contrarian, didn't see you on live. Sorry. Yeah, she's here, or she was here. Um, but yeah, the end credit scene on this movie doesn't set you up for a new movie. It just gives you like something. It makes this movie completely self-contained, which is another great thing. This whole movie is self-contained. It's not setting you up for the very next movie like a Marvel film did. That's what started making people dislike Marvel movies. It felt more like, instead of it feeling like you watching a movie just to be entertained by that movie, it felt like you were doing homework for the very next movie to be set up. So you don't have to go see this to say, oh, I need to see this to know what's going to happen next in the DCU. No, this movie is self-contained. You're just watching it to see Superman, although it has a lot of other elements in it. Joker 2, he said I walked out of the theater. It was so bad, but I also really dislike Gaga and Phoenix. I like Joaquin Phoenix just because I liked his brother so much back in the day before he died. Um, I don't like Lady Gaga. I think she's overrated both in looks and in talent. To be honest, the only thing I liked her on was The Sopranos. Uh, but I think she's overrated. She's like a wannabe Madonna and Cher. But plus, I don't like Harlequin. I'm just tired of her. Like when Harlequin first came out in the Suicide Squad back in 2016, it was cool because we never had a live action version of her other than hearing her voice on the Arrow once, but it didn't show her. And then after they made Suicide Squad, Arrow was no longer able to use Suicide Squad in the Arrowverse TV series, but we didn't get to see a live action version of her until you know um, Margot, whatever her name is, played her in Suicide Squad. She did a very good job, but she I hated how like she just became like this mascot of feminists, and so yeah, I just got tired of the character. I think she's just I know she's one of the favorite characters of DC, but I just totally dislike her and wish they would just kill off the character. I was hoping they were going to kill off the character when they created Punchline 7 years ago, but it seemed like they got rid of Punchline and now they kept around Harlequin. But I thought Punchline was supposed to be her replacement. Although Punchline is just as annoying as she is, but Punchline hasn't been made into a live action version of her yet. They might make a live action version of Punchline eventually. Oh, and of course we got to see Metamorpho in live action in Superman. They did a good job of doing Metamorpho. They did a really good job with him. And again, this is not a nerfed Superman. He's not nerfed. This guy pulled himself out of a black hole. He swam in an anti-protein river, an anti-proton river, while saving a baby. And again, he saves people. He saves people because he wants to save them. He doesn't save people because he feels he feels like he feels he has to do it out of some duty. He wants to save people. He is the real Superman. This hasn't we haven't had such a good Superman since Christopher Reeves, and that is a huge alley oop. We have not seen this good of a Superman since Christopher Reeves. The one in Superman and Lois on CW isn't bad either, to be honest. I don't like CW shows, but he actually makes a pretty good Superman. I will admit that. I just didn't like the show because one, it was on CW, and two, he had like two teenage sons. I'm like, why? But aside from that, he did make a pretty good Superman. But this guy, Corn Sweat, I think he's been the best since Christopher Reeves. I like Henry Cavill and I like him as Superman, but the way they wrote the character just made him unlikable. Like he was emo and he didn't like to save people. He blew like when they blew up in the Congress, he just sat there while everyone blew up. Now, although in the director's cut, you see him actually try to save people, but in the theatrical release of Batman versus Superman, he just stayed there while everyone blew up. Like the guy can move faster than the speed of light. You telling me he couldn't save those people if he really wanted to? It's like either Zack Snyder doesn't really doesn't really understand Superman, and he doesn't, or he just wanted him in a situation when all those people blew up and died. which he did. So it was a combination of both. He doesn't really understand superheroes, and he definitely made it in that scene that Superman didn't save those people when he literally could. He moves faster than the speed of light. He's flown to the source wall, the very edge, which is the very not the edge of the universe, it's the very edge of existence. The source wall is where DC comics are made. He flew all the way to the source wall in what, a few months or a few weeks, something like that. He flies faster than the speed of light. Like he can, like he's almost as fast as the fastest Flash, which is um, Wally West. Wally West is the fastest of all the Flashes. If people don't know, he's faster than Barry Allen even. But Superman could have saved those people in Batman versus Superman. So anyway, Corn Sweat is the most Superman like of Superman characters since Christopher Reeve played him back in 1978. So yeah, like I said, he went out his way to save a damn squirrel. Moon says Gambit deserves his own movie. Storm does too. They're both on Omega level. I wouldn't. Yeah, no. I think Gambit should be in a movie, but not his own movie. I don't think a lot of people are gonna go see a movie just based on Gambit. I just don't. I think that's why the film was never made. I just don't think producers. I don't think the producers were convinced that you could sell a movie based on Gambit. He was never one of the major X-Men characters. Like the major X-Men characters, of course, Wolverine. He is the X-Man. He's the most X-Men of X-Men, Wolverine. And then you have Cyclops, who's the first X-Man. Then you have Professor X. those those folks are the three most important X-Men: Professor X, Cyclops, and most of all Wolverine. I don't really think anyone will go see a movie based off Gambit or Storm. But he definitely needed to be in a movie, and he's gonna be in Doomsday. By the way, he's gonna be in Avengers Doomsday, which is good for him. Is there River Phoenix was amazing. Stand by Me. Yep. I guess as I'm listening and learning from both of you guys. Mr. Contrarian, go see Superman. Well, says Quinn was best portrayed in the Arkham game series. Oh, Harley Quinn was best played in the Arkham game series. So good, you would love it. All villains were great, and playing as Batman felt so good. I didn't like the Arkham game, so I didn't really like him. I played one, yeah, it was okay, but I didn't like that version of Batman, which is why I gave away the action figure I had. It was actually my nephew's that that he no longer played with. I mean, he's like 17 now, so he plays with none of these toys now. So I took him because I am the collector. But um, yeah, I gave that away because I don't like the Arkham version of Batman, and this the Harley Quinn they used in Suicide Squad was based more off the Arkham Harlequin than the Batman the animated series Harlequin, which was cool because it made it more grounded. But yeah, I just don't like Harlequin. I like she she just annoys me now, and I hate women. I low key hate women who love Harlequin. Like every time like I remember the first time I went to Comic Con in 2014. This was before the movie came out. I thought it was so cool seeing these women dressed up as Harlequin. I saw some dressed as the cartoon version, some dressed as the Arkham version, the Arkham games version. I was like, cool. Then like 2 years in, it just got tiring. I'm like, don't y'all bitches have anything else y'all could play besides Harlequin? Like seriously, like almost every woman at Comic Con it was a goddamn Harlequin. Sometimes they would play something else like Poison Ivy or an anime character or maybe Wonder Woman or Supergirl, but it's like almost all of them were a Harlequin. I'm like, I just stopped taking pictures of them or even paying attention to them. Tired of Harlequin. I hate that character. I wish they would just kill her off. Uh, Melissa says, I'll cheer to that. Superman's back. Yep. Um, I didn't get to the biggest thing I loved about the movie. Well, the other biggest thing I loved about it. Of course, the biggest thing is we got Superman back, and we have a comic book accurate Superman. That's the biggest thing to take from this film. If people, and I'm telling people go see it, I give it an A minus, which is again a very high score in my ranking because very few movies can get an A. Thank you Agatha for this for the super chat here. Thank you, appreciate it. So Agatha just gave us a nice $10, guys. Thank you. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, so um, he said like Cavill's The Witcher. I haven't seen The Witcher yet. Only reason I didn't watch The Witcher is because I'm not familiar with the books, and I heard what I heard what Netflix did to the show and how they did. Why do people keep doing Henry Cavill dirty? Henry Cavill is a genuine nerd. He's a genuine comic book nerd like us, like me. And he loves The Witcher. He loves like he likes he he actually went down to Times Square in New York City dressed as Clark Kent to see if anyone would recognize him. Just to, because people always say, "Well, why can't you recognize how's it? It's not realistic. People can't recognize Superman as Clark Kent." And he literally went down to Times Square in New York City, and no one recognized him. So if it does work, of course, in this movie, they also took back from the Silver Age comics something that people forgot from the Silver Age comics about Superman, which is that his glasses are hypno glasses. Another spoiler for you guys. He wears hypno glasses, so when you see him as Clark Kent, he looks differently than he does as Superman because he's wearing hypno glasses. Little bit of a spoiler there again. He wears hypno glasses. So for all you people like, that wouldn't fool anybody wearing the glasses. He wears hypno glasses. Is that yeah, emo Batman? Say yeah, Batman's the only character that's supposed to be emo. But in Zack Snyder's DCEU, every single superhero was emo. Cyborg was sad. I'm like, why is Cyborg sad? Flash is sad. Wonder Woman is sad. Superman is sad. Aquaman is sad. Like, why are they all sad? Like the only and it's like Dark Batman is the only one that's supposed to be sad, and because every other superhero was sad, the only way Batman can outdo their sadness is by being fascist. Like he's sitting there, um, putting putting a little uh, Batman stamp on people so they get killed in prison. I'm like, what in the world? Like you, Zach, and he's just murdering people. It's like Zach, I'm pretty much convinced that the remaining Snyder fans out there, because they're a very vocal but very small group of people. I'm pretty sure that the majority of like hardcore Snyder fans are incels. They, I'm convinced that the hardcore Snyder fans out there, they went on Reddit trying to spoil the Superman for everyone like before the movie came out. talking about they're going to try to tank the movie because they want Snyder to come back and finish his universe. I'm convinced these people are incels or autistic. Melissa's Twilight Kid is emo. Oh, you talking about Robert Pattinson? Twilight Kid is emo Batman, but I hope they change that up with the next movie and make him more badass. But I did enjoy the first one. I just wanted Riddler to be cooler. The Batman was a good movie, except for Robert Pattinson as the Batman. He was the like I said 3 years ago when I first did my review of that. When I first started this channel, I loved the Batman movie, but I didn't like Robert Pattinson in the movie. Like he was the weakest element in the movie, which is why at the time I gave it a B minus or B plus. But I was being nice. If I were to really look at it, looking at it now, I would give it I give it a I give it a C. I can't even give it a C plus. I give it a C. Like it's passing. It's a passing grade, but it's not great. Because I said Robert Pattinson being the Batman should have been the best part of the movie, and instead he was the weakest part of the movie. He doesn't he doesn't come across as Batman. He comes across more as Nightwing. He's just utterly unconvincing as Batman. So I'm not going to go see the sequel in the movies. Like I went to go see the Batman. Actually no, I didn't go see it in the movies. I was about to go see it, and I changed my mind, and I instead watched it on my Fire Stick. And then I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go see this. Cause some movies I will watch on my Fire Stick, and then I'll go see in the theater too. Cause I did that with Spider-Man: No Way Home. I saw it on my Fire Stick, and I was like, no, I gotta go see this in the theater, and saw it in the theater. Um, but the Batman, after I saw it on the Fire Stick, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see this in the movies. It was a good movie except for him. He was the weakest link in the movie, and then it just was unconvincing. Like you're telling me he's supposed to be a genius, and mind you, in the DC universe, he's one of the smartest people in the world, next to Lex Luthor and Mister Terrific, who I'm about to get into next. But you're telling me one of the smartest people on the face of the planet got caught up on a simple Spanish riddle, la rat, la rata. Like it was just stupid. It was really stupid, and I just like he had no ninja skills whatsoever. He just comes up knocking on the door, having discussions with the police team, with the crime. He's just in there having conversations with crime scene investigators and detectives, and not coming up to doors, knocking on them. Like he was the most un-ninja like of any Batman I've ever seen since the 1960s Batman, which was like every other Batman since Adam West has been ninja like, but this guy no. It and they would say, "Oh, this is a more grounded Batman." Really? So he's a grounded Batman, but he can just walk through machine gun fire because that really happens. That's realistic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure special force operators just with their with their bulletproof armor just walk through gunfire. That's completely realistic. That's so grounded. Get the fuck out of here. I hate. Anyway, that's why the movie only gets a C, and it only gets a C because everyone else in the movie is good. Especially John Turturro and the little sweetheart that plays Catwoman. But anyway, moving back on to Superman. So the other greatest part of it is Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific is the shit. I'm telling you, like people did not like my sister didn't understand why I hated the Mr. Terrific in the CW series, The Arrow, until she saw that and she's like, "Oh, I get it," and realized how bad they butchered Mr. Terrific in The Arrow on CW. First of all, they made him gay for no reason, which just distracts from his whole origin. His whole origin is he became Mr. Terrific after his family was gunned down in front of him. Not like as a kid, but his he was married to he had a wife and kids, and they were gunned down in front of him when he became Mr. Terrific. He is the third smartest person in the world, next to again Lex Luthor, the smartest man in the world. Who it makes sense because Superman is the most powerful man in the world, so Lex Luthor is the smartest man in the world. Nice, plays off each other. Batman is the second smartest, and then there's Mister Terrific. He's a multi-level. He's a multi-level Olympiad, gold medalist. He has like 15 PhDs, but you wouldn't get that from in the CW in the Arrow. They made him like he's just a goofy sidekick to this wannabe Barbara Gordon. This They have a low budget version of a Barbara Gordon who plays the romantic counterpart to the Green Arrow in the Arrow series, and he's her sidekick. He's gay. He's the weakest character on the Arrow team, and there's no Green Arrow team in the comic books, but he has a team, and he's the weakest link in the team. Although he's still smart, but he's not the smartest. And for some reason, he has a big ass afro in the show, and then every time they dress up to go fight bad guys, he suddenly turns his fro into cornrows. So it's like his superpower seems to be that he can go from a fro to a cornrows in 5 minutes. That's his superpower. I was like, obviously, no one writing for that show is black because they would have been like, this is fucking absurd. You're not going to have someone with a fro suddenly have cornrows in 5 fucking minutes and getting ready to go fight bad guys. That's fucking dumb. It's fucking stupid. And he was the weakest fucking character on the Arrow. I hated that shit. It ruined the Arrow for me. Like that was one of the things. Like the first 3 seasons of Arrow were good. Then when he started having a team, it just became whack and gay. And Mr. Terrific was gay for no reason. I mean, like he was actually gay, not like he was corny. Like he was gay, and a he was just a he was just a weak character for no reason. Whereas Mr. Terrific in the comic books has led the Justice League. He has led the Justice League. He's one of the smartest people on the planet, and he says that he likes. When someone asked him why is he the third smartest person on the planet, he said, I only say I'm the third. I said people only know me as the third smartest person on the planet because I've put that into because I told the media to that I was because I don't want people to know how actually smart I am. He The way they use him as Superman is so freaking awesome. He has his T spheres like in the comic books. He's like Superman can't get a lot of things done in this movie without Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific is the shit. And he's also played by the guy who was in X-Men First Class that played one of the mutants who was supposed to return in X-Men Apocalypse, and they never used him. So they finally got him back now. He's with DC Comics, and I guarantee because of everyone's like of the character, he's going to be back in some more DC movies. They have to reuse him because his part in the movie is so good. He protects Lois Lane. Like you didn't even see this coming. Like he goes out to help her, and like you're like when it happens, like you're like, oh shit, they about to get beat up. Mister Terrific is a beast. He is a beast. I'm telling you. I will buy the action figure. He is a beast. I'm telling you, this man, is the shit. So this is when black people say they want a superhero. This is what we need. We need a Mister Terrific. A we don't need a racially swapped white character who's now black, like they did with so many characters. No, we need a character that was made as a black person originally, like Mr. Terrific, who doesn't have black in his name, like Black Lightning. Fucking Black Lightning is corny. Yeah, he's a DC superhero, but he's corny. He's always been corny to me. That's why I didn't like the CW TV show either. It was corny, and I watched like 3 seasons of Black Lightning. I couldn't finish the third season because it just got so stupid with because it became all about his daughters and all this other dumb shit. But Black Lightning is fucking corny. Any superhero with the name Black in it is just fucking corny, including Black Panther. The only reason I give Black Panther grace on having black in his name is because he's the very first black superhero, and it fits the character. Like it wouldn't sound right just to call him Panther, right? Black Panther makes sense, but every other character with black in the name besides Black Panther is just corny, and they all have like lightning super. They all have like lightning superpowers. Mr. Terrific does not have lightning based super. He doesn't have electric based superpowers like all these other black superheroes. And he's not part of the military like Rhodes, who plays um, the uh, knockoff Iron Man. Although I do like Rhodey. Don't get me wrong, I like Rhodey, but it's like every black superhero either had to have black in his name, have electric superpowers, or they were in the military. I'm like, can we not? Can we do something else besides having a black superhero with black in his name with electric powers or part of the military? Because even John Stewart, was it was like a former Marine. I don't mind that because at least he doesn't have black in his name. He doesn't have electric based superpowers, and he's still not a part of the military. That was just his part of his background that he's a Marine veteran. But it's not like something that's a part of his superhero character itself, like with Rhodes. Mr. Terrific's the shit. Alex says, what movie is coming out this summer? Well, Fantastic Four is coming out in next week, but I'm not going to see that. Um, and Jurassic World is out. That came out July 1st. I don't want to see that. I'm tired of these Jurassic World movies, Jurassic Park movies. The only good Jurassic Park movie was the very first one back in 1992. Everything else is to me has been all the sequels have been stupid. Um, I don't like any of the sequels, and I've seen all of them except for the last one. um, but yeah, so those are movies out. You got Jurassic World, you got Superman, Fantastic Four will be out next week, and and the Naked Gun. They're doing a reboot of the Naked Gun with Liam Neeson playing playing the son of Leslie Nielsen. That might be funny, but I'll wait for that on digital. I'm not going to the theaters to see Naked Gun. I don't go to. There's nothing against it. I just don't. I don't go to the movies to see parodies. That's like a waste of money. The only no, the only time I went to go see parody movies in a movie was when um the uh the scream the scream parody came out. Scared. What was it called? What were the scream parodies called? With the Waynes brothers. I went to go see the first two in the movies. I didn't see the third and fourth one in the movies because they didn't. The third and fourth ones didn't was when they took the Waynes out of it. They so, but Naked Gun comes out in August. Fantastic Four comes out next week. Superman is out now. Jurassic World is out right now. Those are the big uh, movies out this summer. Next summer, they're making a movie based on the Odyssey. Homer's The Odyssey. is going to be out next year, and it's made by Christopher Nolan. I'm like, oh, this might be good. This might be really good. Christopher Nolan doing the Odyssey, that might be good. Because as soon as they said Syncope, the film studio, I'm like, is that Christopher Nolan? Because he always works. That I think actually that might Syncope might actually be owned by the Nolan brothers, Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan. But every movie I've seen released when it says Syncope has been a Christopher Nolan film, I think. Except I think Memento. I don't think Memento was made by Syncope, and I just watched that last week. No, this week. I just watched Memento earlier this week to see how weird it was. It was a good film, but it was kind of sad too. The ending of Memento was kind of sad. This is Mr. Terrific is a BC is the shit. Black Lightning is corny. He is. Black Lightning is corny as fuck. Especially the way, like, the CW version of him, I should say, is very corny. He's not as bad in the comic books, but even in the comic books, he's kind of corny. If you remember Super Friends, they couldn't use the likeness to Black Lightning, so they made something that was similar to the Black Lightning. They called them Volt what was it, Voltar, Voltage, or something like that. But he was supposed to be Black Lightning. They just couldn't use the name. Um, but because of the Super Friends version of him, and then the CW, then remember Static Shock was loosely based off of Black Lightning, but Static Shock wasn't made by DC. They were originally made by the black-owned comic book imprint that was bought out by DC Comics. James Gunn also just admitted in a recent interview in Brazil that he has no plans to make Static Shock into a live action character yet. So for people curious about that, Static Shock is not going to be made live action anytime soon. I mean, I don't honestly. I know some people like the character because he it was a good cartoon back in the '90s, early 2000s. But I don't care that much about the character, nor the rest of that imprint. I never like I like having black superheroes, but I never cared for those that that bunch of characters that they made. I can't remember the name of the comic book imprint. As is great, have to make some movie dates. Yeah. Oh yeah, Scary Movie. That's what it was called. Yeah, I went to go see Scary Movie 1 and 2 in the movies. Those are the only parody films I remember going to see in the movies that I can think of offhand. It might be another one I've seen, but most of the parody movies I've always watched either on video or on cable. I've never went out to go see parody movies because they it doesn't seem like those don't seem like movies worth to go see. Especially movies are too expensive nowadays to go see like a mediocre movie. And to me, parody movies are mediocre. So it's Melissa and they made Meet the Spartans, which was crazy hilarious. Eh, it was okay. Like I said, the thing about a parody movie is it's usually only good the first time you watch it, and then afterwards it's not funny anymore. At least Scary Movie, the reason Scary Movie stands out is because those you could watch them more than once and it would still be funny. But most of those other parody films, you watch it once and it's no longer funny, which is why the other Scary Movie films 3 and 4 weren't as good as 1 and 2. 1 and 2 were like standouts, but 3 and 4, like they they just became like your typical National Lampoons type films where it's good like the first time you watch it, then afterwards, like the original National Lampoon films, like National Lampoon's um, Vacation, and then National Lampoon's European Vacation, and the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Those are classics. My favorite is Christmas Vacation because you can watch that every Christmas. And it's funny because when you see Chevy Chase character, you realize that you're looking at a bygone era where it was expected to it was almost it was an expectation back then that you would get a Christmas bonus. Most people don't get Christmas bonus in their jobs anymore. So um, you don't even see that any again. Oh, Agatha, is the 10 is the is 10 is that 10 for the channel or is that for Mike? I just want to be clear so I know where to divvy it up. But National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Then there's National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation, which was kind of pretty funny too. Vegas Vacation didn't come out in the theaters, so they actually came out on cable. Um, but it took off like right after Christmas Vacation, so it kind of followed from Christmas Vacation because it used Clark's cousin. What's his name? I forgot his name that plays him. But you can watch Christmas Vacation every year. It's like a Christmas movie because it's hilarious. I still like Europe, the National Lampoon's European Vacation too. With the Griswolds, Ziggy Piggy, Ziggy Piggy. Move this. Oh, there we go. What's up, Carlton? You said your choice is fine with me. Okay, thank you. I've been trying to get Micah to come back on. Uh, well, I told Agatha. I don't think I've told everyone else in the chat room. So her daughter was hospitalized, and I remember she had some guy trying to send me money through Cash App, but the guy was a bit sketchy, and I told her like I don't want to keep accepting money from him to give to her because I don't want my Cash App to get flagged doing transactions from someone who may be of dubious character because they those transactions get flagged easily. And I was like, why can't he just send that money to you directly? He's like, oh, he doesn't know how to. But then when I looked at his Facebook, I'm like, yeah, he does. Like the guy had like 2,000 different Asian women from the Philippines and Thailand on his Facebook friend list. I'm like, so he's sending these other people money. When she was like, well, he only sends me money. I'm like, yeah, he's lying to you because he sends these other girls money too. And the only reason he's cash apping me is probably because his apps have already been flagged, so he can no longer send money through them. I was like, so I'm not going to receive money from him to give to you and get my cash app flagged because I had already did it twice for her. And then the third time I was like, nah, I can't keep doing that. He needs to send you money directly. And she kept saying, well, he won't do that. I'm like, then that's probably because he's up to no good. I'm not going to ruin my I need my cash app for my financial transactions because I don't have PayPal. And the reason I'm saying this because 3 years ago she had me sending money to her from another dubious character, and I lost my PayPal business because of her trying to help her out because I was receiving money from someone to give to her third person, and the transactions got flagged, and I lost my PayPal business. So I was like, after that, I'm not doing it anymore. These guys get flagged for their transactions because they realize that these transactions may be for the purposes of dubious things. And then once you keep receiving transactions from them, you'll get flagged too because they're like, oh well, this person is now doing the same thing that he's doing, and they're sending the money so that they can do the transactions for them. These people, these transactions are monitored, and these people aren't stupid. Like when they see the same person sending the same money to the same person, like it becomes a red flag. And then once they sometimes they'll question a person first, and then if the person doesn't respond or they refuse to respond, then they just shut down their ability to use the app. So then they'll either have to run it through a different email or they have to have someone else send it for them. And then once they realize you're sending the money for that same person that they already blocked on their app, then they're going to block you as well. So I was like, I'm not going to have my Cash App blocked the same way my PayPal business account got blocked. Yeah, yeah, scammers, right? There's yeah, sometimes there's scammers, Agatha, but also again, they flag these transactions because they realize it might be for sexual solicitation. So if they again they they know that these transactions may be for sexual solicitation. So if they know that these women are sending these folks sexual favors and like such as pictures and videos or other sorts of things, that gets flagged because even if they don't know exactly what it's for, if they see it keep going to the same person like a certain number of transactions, it gets flagged. And then sometimes they'll send out a notice to ask the person, do you know this person you're sending money to or whatever? And then if they don't respond or whatever, they block it. And then so the only thing that person can do is either try to run it through a different setup, use the app again through a different email and account and set up a new account, or they try to have someone else send the money for them to the exact same people they got flagged for sending it to in the first place. And so then that person gets flagged and then they get blocked as well. And that's what happened with me on PayPal. So I was like, I told her, I said, I'm not going to do it again because you got me. I lost my PayPal account for you 3 years ago because you had me sending money to you because you were in a bad financial situation and you asking these people for money and doing whatever she was doing for them to send her money, not trying to blow up her spot. I understand she's in a rough situation, but that happens. So I'm like, I told her I was like, either he sends the money to you directly or I can't do it. So I refunded his money, and then she told me he wouldn't send it to her, but I think she got the money a different way. And then she was just kind of worried that something was going to happen to her child. But and Mrs. Contrarian can verify this for me if she's still here. I hope. Are you still here, Mahal? But she was saying they weren't going to treat her child unless she paid up, and that's not what's going to happen. What happens is something equally as bad, which is so in these hospitals over in the Philippines. What happens is they're gonna treat you, but they're not. Sometimes these hospitals won't release you until you pay them, and I'm serious. Like they'll treat you in these hospitals, and then they won't allow you to be released until you give them payment, which is not legal there, by the way. But a lot of these places get away with it, especially in these little rural provinces where there's less regulation going on, like say in somewhere like Metro Manila. So I was like, it ain't the case. They're not going to treat our child. They're not going to refuse to treat a toddler. What's going to happen is they're just not going to release her until she can pay up. So I'm pretty sure the her baby should be doing fine. I haven't heard. I talked to her since, but she hasn't given me any update on her child. So I don't know what's what with that. But I told her as soon as I can release my as soon as my YouTube funds are are paid out to me, then I will give her the money as soon as possible. So I still have $15 more to go. Carlton says a similar thing happened to Umar Johnson. He got too many cash apps and was shut down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Carlton. Like they monitor those transactions. Like for instance, I get a transaction from someone every week, but that's for business purposes. I do life coaching for someone, but it's only once a week, so they're not going to flag that a once a week transaction. Now, if I was getting the same transaction from that person, like like several times a day, that's gonna be a red flag. Or even if it wasn't from the same person, if I was getting multiple transactions of the same amount from different people, it's gonna get flagged, right? Which is also why you should have more than one cash, um, one sort of app for that. Like I have Cash App. I used to have Venmo. I shut that down. That's why I took it off my That's why I took it off my YouTube for people to give me payments. I have never used it since I've set up my Venmo 5 years ago. I've never used it. Um, I've received money through Buy Me a Coffee and through Cash App and through PayPal, and then I lost my PayPal 3 years ago because I was trying to help Mike out. I do also have Zelle because I use Zelle. I was using Zelle both through USAA and through the Charles Schwab Bank app. So I do have Zelle. So my two main things now are Cash App and Zelle. Since I no longer use Venmo, my PayPal got shut down. Um, I closed my Remitly app, which I use for international transactions, because for my international transactions, I use SendWave, which doesn't charge you anything. So those are my three apps: SendWave for international transactions, um, Zelle, and then I use Zelle and Cash App here. Anyway, I just went off forgetting the movie. So back to the movie. So Mr. Terrific is awesome in this movie. Oh, and also there's Hawk Girl. Hawk Girl is hot. Hawk Girl is hot in this movie. And I think they said for the TV show The Lantern Court is going to be on HBO Max later this year. That I think they're going to have Hawk Girl make an appearance on Lantern Court because in the cartoon Justice League, um, John Stewart and Hawk Girl had a relationship, and this is there's many different versions of Hawkman and Hawk Girl. This Hawk Girl has real wings, unlike the Hawk Girl we saw in Black Adam, because they had a Hawk Girl in Black Adam as well. So that was the first live action Hawk Girl. Well, actually, no, that's not the first. The first live action Hawk Girl was in the CW back in the day. That was the first live action Hawk Girl. Most people. um, so you had Hawk Girl originally in the Arrowverse. Then you had a different Hawk Girl in Black Adam, and now you have this one in Superman. And I think James Gunn or someone else already said that they're going to have a love interest between Jon Stewart and her, just like in the cartoon The Justice League. And she's going to be based, and she's going to be like in the cartoon. She's going to be the Thanagarian version of Hawk Girl. She's not going to be the human Hawk Girl who used like um who used robotic wings and was like supposed to be the resurrection of an ancient Egyptian priestess. Because and there's like three different versions of Hawk Girl and Hawkman in the comic books. One of them, they're like humans who are resurrections of this Egyptian priest, priestess, and a pharaoh who fell in love in ancient Egypt, and then they've been resurrected, so they come together. But anyway, then there's the Thanagarian, which are alien species, um, which is weird then because they talk about him being an alien a lot in the movie, but they don't talk about the fact that Hawkgirl's an alien too. So I guess they'll show more about that in the show. But I'm about to wrap this up, guys. I gave a lot of spoilers, although I didn't give all the spoilers. I didn't give all the spoilers, and I didn't give away the plot. I didn't give away the major spoiler, which might upset a lot of people. But I told you why. I told you why it's going to upset a lot of people if they're familiar with the change in Superman's origins in Smallville, or if they read a few of the comic books where they changed his origins. But other than that, did anyone have any Superman questions? Or if not, I'm gonna wrap it up since it's been 2 hours in. Also, if anyone want to give me $15 before this ends, anyone in the chat room, I'll be much obliged. Again, that money, if you want, will go to Micah to help her child who's currently being hospitalized. Um, and if you guys seen her, she appeared on my stream twice. Her daughter's is her daughter's adorable. Her daughter also suffers from cleft palate, and she's currently on the wait list to get treatment for that cleft palate. But the daughter is adorable. Like she's adorable. I sometimes want to wag a finger at some of these Filipinos that knock these girls up, even if they don't want to be with the girls anymore. And I can understand why sometimes they don't want to be with some of the girls. Thank you, Carlton. He just gave me a super sticker, a super uh a super chat. Thank you, Carlton. Appreciate it, brother. Um, but what was I saying? Yeah, I sometimes want to wag my finger at some of these Filipino guys who leave these girls pregnant and won't take care of these adorable little children. Mind you, it is so much cheaper to take care of a child over there than it is here. But the problem is a lot of these girls get knocked up by canto boys. And for a lot of you who are unfamiliar with that term, a canto boy is the Filipino version of a Pookie and Ray Ray. So they tend to be jobless guys who hang out on the corner and they try to be players. And it's like the girls have to, the girls deserve the blame too. Like stop having kids by these guys who are losers just because they're charismatic. Same thing we tell women here. Like stop getting knocked up by Pookie and Ray Ray, and then you mad that no one wants to be with you now, and that no one wants to take care of these children. Stop having children by losers. And like I said, in the Philippines they call canto boys. So I told her that a few weeks ago. I was like, he's not going to help you at all. She's like, no, I can't get in touch with him. I can't find him. And here's the thing, guys. So the Philippines actually does have. So a lot of people would be surprised and don't know this because I didn't know either until like 2 years ago. There is child support in the Philippines. The problem with the child support there, so just like, so it's like two different extremes. So here, the family law goes too, the family law goes too far in punishing men with child support. Here, they don't do enough to ensure these people pay it. Over there, child support, they have a child support system in place, but it's voluntary. Like you can't make these men do it. Like whereas here, they will put men in jail, take strip them of their driver's licenses and prevent them from having passports if they owe back child support. Over there, it's freaking voluntary. So over here they go too far. Over there they don't go far enough. So that just shows how while child support is such a dubious system. So either it's like either it's over enforced or it becomes under enforced. Like they don't know how to. It seems like governments don't know how to make that 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 perfect middle where it's not where it's obligatory but it's not punitive, right? Like that would be way that would be the happy medium when it comes to child support. It should be legally obligatory, but it shouldn't be punitive. Like once you make it punitive, like you disincentivize people from not only paying it because they're going to have to pay it anyway because it's legally obligatory, but you're going to disincentivize men from wanting to be in those sort of relationships in the first place. But when it's neither punitive nor legally obligatory, it's voluntary, it has no teeth, which means that men who are already like social losers are not going to do what they're supposed to do to take care of the children. Like I said, child support is abused here by women who want to basically use child support to live off of it instead of it's supposed to be for the children, but but half the time the women here, half, I'm not saying all, half the time just use child support to live off of, especially if they can get a rich man. That's why they try to get rich men to get them knocked up so they can live off the child support. And even better if they get married to them. Shout out to uh shout out to Tony Braxton and to and to Mr. Cash Money Records himself. They were in a relationship for 16 years, got married, and divorced in a few months, and now she's getting all this alimony. They were only married for a few months, and now she's taking them to court for all this alimony. And it was like, dude, if you weren't in a relationship with her for 16 years, that should have told you something. Because I'm gonna tell you women a secret. A guy, if he's ready to marry you, he will know within a few months that he wants to spend the rest of his life with you. It doesn't take him 16 years to decide that. Now, if it's for financial reasons, I can see that. But when you are the owner of Cash Money Records, money isn't a problem. We need the number one stunner. Number one stunner. Let me stop. But yeah, Birdman. But yeah, Birdman got taken to the cleaners. I think there's a better joke to say. I just can't think of it because it's late. But yeah, Birdman dated Tony Braxton for 16 years, got married a few years ago, or last year, whatever. It only lasted a few months. And now she's taken to the courts for like for millions of dollars in alimony. How does she think she deserves millions of dollars of his income? Like basically, she's taking him to court for half his income when they were only married for a few months. Like I blame that on Birdman. That like why did you do that? You dated her for 16 years, then you decided to suddenly marry her. It only lasted for a few months, and now she wants half your income. You played yourself. Where's DJ Khalid when you need him? Congratulations, you played yourself. But anyway, getting back to Micah. So $10 more and I will be able to release my funds. I'm gonna pay her. Um, and just to let you guys know, I did pay her. I'm gonna bring her up on the live stream so that she can verify to you guys that I sent her the money because I want y'all to know that I'm not I'm not trying to con anyone. I don't do that. I'm not Dr. Umar. Where's the school at, Dr. Umar? Where's the school? Do y'all remember what he? Oh, not only was he not only was he lying about opening up an all black school in Philly that never got made. Do y'all remember when he was lying, talking about he's celibate? This nigga got how many kids? Talking about he, he was claiming he was celibate until this girl put him on blast, saying that they have a baby together. Not the one out right now, the one his adult daughter. This I think this was a different woman. He has multiple baby mamas, but he's the same one telling black men they need to marry these women. This this Negro ain't married. He got he's the same Pookie and Ray Ray that he's telling other black men not to be. So he's a con artist. So guys, I'm not a con artist. So like I said, once I send this money to Mike, I'm gonna bring her a live stream so she can verify to you guys that she received that money. Okay. Hopefully she'll have her daughter with her because she has not given me an update on her daughter's health since she's been hospitalized. So I'm kind of worried about that. Um, and I think she's only been able to talk when she's like in Wi-Fi. So shout out to Micah. Hopefully she's doing all right. Her daughter's doing all right. I will have further updates about her. And like I said, once I think I need $10 more left to give to her. Once I get that, she can YouTube will cut the check to me because you have to meet in a certain amount for each time they cut a check to you. And you can I think the lowest I think the lowest setting is $100. I don't think you can set it to like 25 or 50. I think the lowest amount is 100. So every time you reach 100, they cut a check to you. And then of course, if you're making big bucks, you'll probably want to cut the check higher, like make it like 1,000 or 5,000. If you're someone like Mr. Beast, you might make it like 10,000 or something like that, or you know, big when you're a big baller like that guy. Of course, most YouTubers are not ballers like Mr. Beast. So they probably set theirs somewhere around. I'm imagining like 1,000 or 2, whatever. I don't know. I'm not in anyone's pockets in YouTube, so I don't know how much they make. Although there's a website you can go and find out what your favorite YouTuber is making per month. Believe it or not, yes, there's you can go. There's a web. I don't know the name of the website, but the website lets you know what all your favorite YouTubers are making per month. Or, estimated, of course. So you can go see find out. You can go see how much someone like Mr. Beast is making, or PewDiePie, or O'Shea Duke Jackson, even like someone like him. Like he's not a big YouTuber, but he's big in like the Black Manosphere spaces. So people in the who you know gravitate to the Black Manosphere or to the Red Pill might want to know how much those guys are making. So that website will tell you. Um, you can go look if you for me if you want to, but I'm not on there because I looked myself. Yeah, so I'm not on there, so it's not going to show you how much I make. But guaranteed, I don't make a lot. I just for you guys who don't know, I just got monetized last July 2024. So I've only been monetized for a year, so can't imagine I'm making a lot. You gotta remember, for my first 2 years, I used to always joke that I only have one watcher, which I was talking about my friend Marcus. But I had more watchers than that, of course. But I used to just joke that I only had one watcher. So it took me a while to get monetized, just because I wasn't doing this full time. I was just doing this as a as a side gig. But like I said, once I get to 10,000, I'll make this full time, and that is my goal for this year, is to reach 10,000 subs. So I'm still like 7,900 away from that goal. I'm st- yeah, have 7,900 more subs to go. So if you guys have not liked and subscribed, please like like the video, subscribe to my channel, hit the notifications. I don't I usually don't Most of my videos aren't set up in advance, but the ones that are, you'll see the notification for them. So if you can give me a like and a subscribe and share the videos, that'll help me a lot. I do want to reach 10,000 subs by the end of 2025. That is my goal. Last year, my goal was just getting monetized, which I did. But this year, I want to hit 10,000 subs. And I'm still a little bit of ways from that. Just a little bit. um, but yeah, I have $10 more to go till I reach my payout for this period. And like I said, um, the money that was donated to Micah will go to her. Okay, so that's a good chunk of money so far for her. I mean, it's not a lot, but it wasn't a lot given yet. So if I was hoping like some of my followers from the past would see this and help out. There was one guy who followed me. I haven't seen him on here for months. That was literally a millionaire. Because I actually, the funny thing is, I actually gave him some good advice because his girl broke up for him for choosing to sell his business, for which he made a considerable sum of money. She was mad at him for selling his, for basically um, selling his business, which he made a large profit from. If you know, if what he's telling me is true, of course. Like, there's always the opportunity that someone's just lying online, but I'm gonna take him at his word, and that he actually had a business that he sold for a couple of $1 million. His girlfriend broke up with him, and he was sad because she was the first girl he ever been with, and he was pining over her. I was like, dude, get over her, go to the gym, you'll get another girl eventually. And he started listening to me, and he was like, dude, you were completely right. He said, I started hitting the gym, I feel better, I'm no longer sad about her. If he were to return, I would ask him, for a small donation to the channel, just so I could help Mike out, because I know, again, assuming that his story is real, and I'll take what he told me at face value that it was real. It may not be, but I'll taking it at face value. I would ask him for like a small. I'm not talking about like thousands of dollars, by the way, but if he could don't, any sum would do, just to give a donation, just especially after he told me that the advice I gave him was actually very helpful. I'll be like, hey brother, can you help me out with the channel, just so I can send this not from me but to someone who needs it. Um, and I don't remember his username, unfortunately, because he hasn't been on the channel. I haven't seen him on the channel in, I'm gonna say, 7 months now. It's been about 7 months since I've seen him, maybe six, six at mm, six at the earliest. But I think it's been more like 7 months that since the last time he was on the channel. But he or one of the other guys, um, it would be nice. But before I wrap this up, does anyone have any Superman questions? And it can be either from the movies or from the comic books. Like, it could be from the recent movie, from the previous movies. I've seen every Superman movie. The only thing I haven't seen were the Superman serials from the 40s. And right now I've been watching the classic Fleischer cartoons from the 40s. But I'm not, although I don't know the Batman mythos as good as, although I don't know the Superman mythos through and through like I know the Batman mythos, I still know a good a good chunk of it. Like, I saw every Christopher Reeve movie. I seen everything that Henry Cavill did, because he didn't get to play him a lot. He only got to play him like 3 times. But and that's not including the cameos. But if anyone has a Superman question, either about the movie, the comic books, his mythos, then go ahead and ask me. I know Agatha got questions because she doesn't. She already told me she wasn't aware of these movies that much. So no Superman questions, guys. Trying to put my key back on my pepper spray. Mm-hmm. But if there's no Superman questions, I'm gonna wrap this up. But I want to give it a few minutes because I don't know, someone might be like, "Hey, wait, I had a question." And they might be typing it, and then I end it, and you know. I know that sucks because I've done that on a few live streams where I'm like typing out something and then they said they're about to end the live stream and then they end it right before I can send the message. Especially if I'm like editing the message because it's typos. You know, autocorrect creates more typos than it corrects. Autocorrect sucks. But anyway, um, that's why I'm giving it a few minutes because someone could be like voraciously just typing on their screen. And if not, that's cool too. But you know, when you see me wear this, it's going down. Like, you know, if I'm wearing this, it's something superhero related because I don't wear my Superman t shirt that often. Remember, guys, I wore it last year, and that was, I think, on Superman Day. I think that was the last time I wore it on live stream. That's the last time I wore it was on Superman Day. But no questions about Kal El, Clark Kent, Hypno Glasses, Crypto, Kryptonians, Ma and Pa Kent, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, um, Ultraman, Supergirl, the engineer. The engineer actually comes from was a bad guy in the movie. They came from another comic book company that was bought out by DC Comics, and they are like a evil Justice League. So there's going to be a cartoon series based on them because I don't think they're going to make them live action, but the character, the engineer was made live action on Superman. But I think she's also going to do the voice of the character on the series when it comes out in a year from now. I think it comes out next year. I forgot the name of the group, but they're basically like an evil Justice League, and they were originally a part of a different comic book company that, and then DC bought their imprint and um, folded them into the DC multiverse. But she was a powerful character. Or questions about metahumans. Metahumans. So superpowered beings in DC are called metahumans. Let's see, differs from Marvel, where in DC all this super any any being that has superpowers is referred to as a metahuman, whereas in Marvel they make distinctions between the superpowered beings. You have mutants who are born that way because of their X gene. You have inhumans, which were people people who had a alien mutant gene, which made them inhumans. Then you have mutates, people who receive superpowers through some sort of scientific accident, like Spider-Man and Deadpool. Those are mutates. Um, Whereas, like I said, but in DC they don't differentiate between people who are born with a meta gene or people who got it through a scientific accident or aliens. So, like I said, you know, in Marvel they distinguish between the aliens, the mutants, and the mutates. Um, in DC, everyone's a metahuman who has superpowers. So it doesn't matter if they got it through magic, through a metahuman gene, through a scientific accident, or whether they're aliens. They're all metahumans, which is why Superman is considered the most powerful metahuman of all. And they say that in the beginning of the movie. But anyway, shout out to everyone who gave me a super chat. Thank you to Carlton again. Thank you to Agatha again. I was hoping for $10 more from one of my members here, so that we could divvy that out to Micah. But she will be happy that I'm getting closer to sending her that money. And I was wondering if I could send it to myself, but I don't think I can. I don't think I can send it to myself on here. I don't think. Um, yeah, I don't. I don't think I can send it to myself. Because if so, I would just. And I think the reason being is that that could artificially inflate people's payouts um, to YouTube if people could just like send money to themselves. So I think they purposely make it so that people that content creators can't just send money to themselves through here. Because if I could, I would do that just so I could get this payout so I could send it to her. Because I would have no problem sending myself like $25 just to get this payout. But I think they realized that people I think they realize if they allow content creators to do that, it it could be abused. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that should be something that content creators should be able to do to send themselves money, or do you think that they would abuse that and try to artificially inflate the amount of money they're receiving? I mean, I think there's arguments on both sides of that, but for me, it would be for a genuine reason, which is just so I could get my payout sooner, so I could send it to someone. So, in any case, I think I've exhausted my time here. But for people who are watching this on replay, if you do want to contribute, you can send it to my super thanks. Um, when you're watching videos that have already been posted, you can send super thanks to your content creators, and you can send me any amount. I will be completely gracious for it. I think the lowest amount is $1, so you can send me $1. You can send me $2, whatever amount you would like to send me. Any donation amount is welcome, as long as you meet the minimum. And I think the minimum is $1 here. I don't think you can send it like 50 cents. Now you can send it in less amount if it's like um, in a different currency. Like if you send in like euros or pounds or Hong Kong dollars or Philippine pesos, something like that. Germ, oh no, German uses euros. I was about to say Dutch marks, but they haven't used Dutch marks in 25 years. But anyway, um, and even when they were using the Dutch marks in 98 and 99, they had already switched over to euros. They were still just allowing Germany to continue using the Dutch marks up until like 2000 or so, because they we were still using Dutch marks when we went out there, and they had already switched to euros back in 99. But yeah, um, yeah. So if anyone's watching this on on um, on replay and you have any questions about the movie, what I thought about the movie, or about the Superman mythos, you can drop it in the comment section. If you want to send me a super thanks, any amount would be great. Or you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com. The link is in my description. And if you haven't, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. Help me get to, I'm trying to get to 10,000 subs by the end of this year. And I've already said what my reward to you loyal watchers will be. unless that changes. But I actually put up on my YouTube post here. Um, I asked people what would they like me to do when I hit 10,000, and it seemed the highest vote was teach you guys the Bruce Lee 1 inch punch. So when I hit 10,000, I will be teaching the Bruce Lee 1 inch punch, unless unless you guys change your minds and want something else instead. But until then, guys, take care. Have a good night, or have a good day if you're on the other side of the world. Thank you again to Carlton and to Agatha. And if anyone else wants to donate, the Cash App is in the description at $ just a contrarian, or you can send it to uh, to my super thanks here on YouTube. Thank you guys. Take care and go see Superman. It's a really great movie. Again, don't listen don't listen to these pundits and these TV reporters. It is not political. If you are MAGA, you'll like it. If you are liberal, you will like it. If you're progressive, you will like it. If you're a moderate, you will like it. Doesn't matter. Go see it. Take care, guys.